go ahead, toss, and then you can go ahead and throw in your chopped tomato. Alright darling, so you can see now we're already starting to get some liquid in here. So everything's starting to sort of reduce. So we're going to go ahead and grate the carrot now in here, which we've done before, and it's going to give a nice flavor, but also a nice thickening aspect to the base of this dish. As everything's grated in, you'll notice that already you have quite a bit of liquid sort of going there, which is what you want, of course. And you're going to go ahead and add spices and then cover it. So go ahead with your salt and throw about half a tablespoon of salt in there. And then, of course, pepper. You want to give a good grind on the pepper grinder, maybe 5 times, 6, 7, I don't know, about 12. And then you'll give that a little stir, and then this is where you want to sort of think about some of the other flavors that you want going in. Now, I have let this reduce a little bit, so it's been about 25 minutes, it seems like, now, since the bread has started, so we're doing pretty good. Actually, we're a little ahead of time on this. So we'll go ahead now and add some of those spices that we talked about. So we're going to go ahead and start with the paprika. And I like to add a lot of paprika, about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. You know, I really think the sort of sweet, smoky flavor of paprika is just perfect for summer dishes. And really anything with tomato. It helps bring out the sweetness in it. And then I have this nice mix of basil and oregano already pre-mixed up, so I'm going to add a nice little dash of that. And then I'm going to do some more of the chili powder, just a couple dashes of that. And then I also have cayenne pepper. I'm just going to do 1 dash of that, too. You know, I can't help myself. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can do a little bit of allspice. So I think I'll just do a single dash of that. Just add a little something more complicated to the flavoring. You can also do a dash of cinnamon, it's good. And then I'm going to also add in just a single bay leaf. Go ahead and do that, and then give that a little bit of a stir together. Now, you may be noticing that this isn't a lot of anything yet, and that there's not a lot of sort of liquid. Now, there's 2 ways you can go with this. To either do the consommé route, or vegetable broth. I think mushroom broth is absolutely delightful with this. Particularly if you want to serve this with a side of wild rice with mushrooms. It's absolutely wonderful, darlings. I do recommend that if you haven't tried it. I'm going to do, well, I would do a white wine, except I have just a little bit of this sake left. I think it's going to give it a nice flavor because there's a lot of sweetness in that, and I think it's going to really help bring out some of the flavors that we have going on here. So I'm going to go ahead, I've turned this now down to low. So we're going to let it sit covered on low heat so that it's really going to reduce a lot, and then we'll start doing things such as bringing out our seafood. So we're going to go ahead and let this reduce for about 25 minutes, and by the time this is getting done, we will be ready to put our bread into the oven as well. So I can't wait to see then, up for putting our bread in the oven. So we're going to go ahead and take a look now. So here we go. Our bread is all risen. You can see it's almost twice the size it was before. It's a little warm, not too much, of course. So we're going to take olive oil to coat the pan, just so it doesn't stick. And the easiest thing is just to, if you don't like to get your hands messy, just get some kitchen paper and just sort of rub it around the base of your baking tray, so that nothing sticks. So you want to make sure to coat your bread just a little tiny bit, just a sort of a pinch on top, and then also on for your hands, because you don't want the loaf to stick to you, guys. It's really unpleasant. So just coat our hands up nicely there, and then a little bit around the outside of the bread. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead now and shape our loaf. Now, it will rise a little bit, of course, depending on how long you've let it sit, and sort of if you've added sugar and all that, really does make a difference as far as how much it's going to rise, and sort of how it's going to be shaped. I like to do a loaf sort of like this. It's going to rise up and just out very, very slightly, and then you can just go ahead and cut it into slices like that, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm just going to take this into the oven, and then we'll come back and we'll work on the stew itself. So the bread is in the oven at 190 degrees centigrade, and we're going to go ahead now and take a look at this. Yes, it's coming along quite nicely. So it's still nice and liquidy, but it's sort of thickened a bit, being on the lower heat. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this up to medium, and we're going to go ahead now and take out, we have our shrimp, and we have our white fish. So these were, just turn it down just a little bit for now. These were frozen. I've had them in the refrigerator for about 3 hours, so they're still quite frozen, so I'm going to put them in first to sort of get some of that water out so we can start already cooking while we're working on prepping the white fish. Just pour that in, give it a stir. Now, seafood cooks incredibly fast, so keep that in mind. You don't want anything to overcook. So if you're worried about it, you can wait on it, or just turn the heat off and let the residual heat. Actually, that's probably what I'll do now. So once I get a little bit of a mix on, I'm just going to cover it and let the heat that's already in the pan cook it, and it will work quite well. Lemon juice can also do the same thing. So we're going to go ahead. So this fish is actually sushi grade, just because I think it's a little bit nicer. And it has a lot fewer bones. A lot of the white fish, you do have to worry about that sort of thing. And I can feel already this nice ridge of bones right in here, so we have to take care of that. Alright, so other than along there, it looks like there's almost no bone, which is part of why getting the sushi grade is a little nicer. So I'm going to cut sort of along that spot, just to remove that. And so I'm going to cut it like we've done on these episodes before, just into nice little bite-sized chunks, so about this size. And you can feel when you touch your fish just how fresh or not it is. This is very soft, and no smell whatsoever, which means it's nice and fresh and good, which is of course another reason sushi grade is nice, is because you know it's going to be really fresh. So just cut this up a little more, and then after this I'll put this in the pan with a bit of a stir, and then we'll start cutting up our spinach, so that can go, because the spinach of course also cooks incredibly quickly. So we're going to go ahead now and go ahead and add it in. I'll give it a stir and turn the heat back on, and then we'll work on the spinach. It smells absolutely delightful, darlings. I wish that I could let you smell it, because, oh, it is wonderful. Back in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat back on, and add just a touch of lemon, and then we'll put the spinach in as well. Just a few dashes of that, and then we'll put this lid back on, and we'll be putting in some of the sake soon. I still have a little bit left in there that we can add. But we're going to do the spinach now, and this is just going to be chopped finely. So make sure you give it a good washing, because spinach has a tendency to hide dirt in it. So we're going to go ahead, cut off the ends here, throw these out. And then we're just going to do a nice little fine chop. Don't forget that there is raw fish on here, so if you touch the cutting board at all, be sure to wash your hands afterwards, before you do anything else. I'm saying this mostly as a reminder for myself too, darling. Alright, there we go. So I can hear it bubbling very softly. Now, give it another stir. The fish is almost completely cooked, as is the shrimp. Oh, it's wonderful, darlings. I wish you could be over here for dinner. I'm going to go ahead now. Okay. There we go. Let that sort of simmer. So the only thing that's left now for us to get to is to add the sake, which is going to need to reduce a bit, and also the parsley. So let's go ahead and do the sake, because that's going to take the longest. So as soon as the spinach is done wilting, we're going to go ahead and add that. Actually, it should have been done before, but I was too busy drinking the stuff to actually add it in, which was really quite silly of me. I shouldn't have done that, should I? In fact, probably you should be adding your quarter to half a cup of white wine, or if you're doing broth, broth or consomme. That should really go in before everything sort of reduces on the simmer for 25 minutes. But it's too late now, I can't take it back, so we're just going to roll with it, you know, and it'll just have a little more of an alcohol flavour. So, you know, really win-win. You know, either way, darling. You either win more alcohol, or you win doing it properly. You know, I don't really mind either way. I need some more drink. It's wonderful. Alright, darling, so the spinach is wilted, and we're going to go ahead and put in the sake now. So let's go ahead. It looks like there's maybe a quarter of a cup at most here. So let's just put all of it in. Sounds good to me. More's better, right? Turn up the heat a little bit to let that cook off, because you will want it to. Oh, it smells absolutely wonderful now, darlings. It really does. Yes, it really should have more time to sort of simmer and cook off before you've got your seafood in. So hopefully it won't overcook the seafood too much, that I completely screwed everything up otherwise. But it's okay, darlings. I plan on having drunk enough, pardon me, that it won't really matter anymore, darlings. It really won't. At least if I'm lucky, which, you know, is what of course I want, is not to have to worry about it. So we're going to go ahead now, and chop up the parsley. I'm leaving it uncovered so that it's going to sort of cook off more of the alcohol. But you know, you don't have to. You can cover it if you'd like. It's up to you how much you want to tell that you've got in there. So I'm cutting off sort of the large stalks because they're very hard, and I just don't find them very tasty. I think I've talked about this before on this program, that I'm not really a big fan, although of course many people do like sort of that crunch, but I feel like the pasta itself has enough of that. I don't really need all the extra, even though it's going to cook so it will soften it. It's not like we're doing tabbouleh or something like that. So we've got a nice rolling boil going here. I'm sure you can hear it. Which is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So I'm probably going to add a little more pepper, ground pepper, and probably some more paprika, just because, you know, darlings, I can't get enough of the stuff in here. So we'll just a few more grinds of the pepper, maybe just a touch more salt. If you do have minced garlic, just throw some more garlic in it, darling. I don't feel like mincing anymore personally, but if you have it on hand and you can just squeeze it from a tube, I say go for it. More garlic is good for you, so just put it as much as you want in. I don't care if sort of the compounds are heat sensitive. It doesn't matter. Just put it in anyhow, darling. You'll feel better for it. So some more paprika. You know, this is just such a small little opening. I don't know why they make it like this. So we'll just put some more in. Go, 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 go. Go, my little friend. There we go. So the color has actually changed now from sort of a deep red to sort of a light yellowish orange color. Nice sort of summer color. Oh, this looks amazing, darlings. It's so good. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. The fish is sort of falling apart, of course, because it's been in here for too long. So I'm going to go ahead now and chop up the parsley. Absolutely wonderful, darlings. Fresh herbs make all the difference. You know, I have actually some other parsley. This is the curly. I have sort of the straight also outside in my herb box that I've got going on my balcony. There we go. Just going to go ahead and throw just about half of it in now to sort of work the flavor in, but I want to keep some so that we have that nice fresh parsley flavor sort of later on in the cooking stage also. I'm going to take these harder parts that have managed to survive and throw them in now though. And just sort of stir that around. Can't even imagine, darling. This is so nice. I hope you try this recipe out, except do it properly, don't do it hide it. Do it properly, so that you can enjoy just the wonderful smell. It's just so amazing. So this is just continuing to just go and continue. I'm going to go double check on the bread because it only has about another 5 minutes left, and I just want to make sure that everything's going properly. I set it on 15 minutes at 190 degrees centigrade, just to make sure it's not going to burn. I haven't done a lot of baking in this oven yet, so I'm not sort of used to all the little tricks yet, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. But it shouldn't take more than about 20 minutes at that sort of temperature. So, right, so we have the bread now just straight out of the oven. So it should sit to cool a little bit before you actually slice it. So we're going to give it just a few minutes, then we'll go ahead and make a bowl by slicing it up. We have everything already in the pot here, and so we'll make a bowl and see how it is. So see you in a moment, darling. Sort of put the bowl together. So I think sometimes a little difficult. If you do have any rice or some kind of grain, quinoa, what have you, that you want to serve it with, put that first in the bowl. I'm not going to bother with it, darling. I don't need all those carbs. So I'm going to go ahead and do a nice couple of scoops here. Now let's do 3. You know, we should do 3. Make it just a little bit nice and bright. And then go ahead and take a nice piece of bread here. Oh, it's still quite hot. Go ahead and serve it just like that. So here you have it, darlings, your nice bowl of stew with fresh herb bread, and just enjoy, you know, have it with your wine or what have you. So darlings, thank you again for tuning in. You know, it's always great to have this time together with you, and I love cooking with you all so much. So Anand, thank you so much for both of your messages. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's meal, and of course if you have anything else you'd like, please don't hesitate to send another ask. Until next time.